Hi everyone, it's Darlene. Welcome back for another card video. Today's card is a 3D, I'm calling it a 3D butterfly. So it kind of pops off the page because I have 3 different butterflies that are glued together. This technique works the best if your butterfly is symmetrical on both sides. I did not have one that was exactly symmetrical, that was large enough, so I'm going to make this Bejeweled Butterfly by Altenew work. I also have this linen background stamp by My Favorite Things and the Simonson Stamp Stitch Circles, which has the stitches on the inside and the outside, which is why it's my favorite. I'm going to stamp 3 of these butterflies on Neenah Solar White cardstock with Memento Tuxedo Black ink. Notice I put my ink pad on top of the stamp, and that helps me get better coverage. When I color the wings of these butterflies, notice I'm putting a dark area at the bottom of each of those curves, and that just sort of gives the butterfly a little bit more dimension. I'm going to be doing both sides. I've got these lines that I'm doing in the middle of with the violet colors also, and then I'm going to take some yellows, just a couple, Y15 and Y11, and I'll just highlight the bottom area of this butterfly on each side. Notice that I left those stripes at the top for later, and that's because there's such a small area that I wanted to make sure my violet was dry before I went and added some more color. And that prevents the color from running into each other. So I'm just going to highlight with some BG45, and I did that on all of the butterflies, so all 3. Then I went back in when I knew that my colors were thoroughly dry and added the yellow. So I'm just adding these 2 yellows to both sides of all the butterflies. There are dies that come with these butterflies, but I don't have them, so I am going to cut mine out with a scissor, all 3 of them. And I'm just going to eliminate the antenna. I'm not going to worry about that. Now it's time to put them together. I'm going to be using some Tombow Mono Multi Glue, and you can see how I'm going to put them together. I'm going to put glue just on one wing at a time. You want to be conservative with the glue, so don't use too much. You don't want it seeping out the sides. And then what I'll do is I'll take the butterflies that face each other, and I'll put them together. So you can see here where it'd be much better for this butterfly to be exactly symmetrical, because then you won't get any overlap on one side or the other. But I'm going to show you how to fix that. I'm going to hold this together until it's glued pretty well, and then I'm going to take my 3rd butterfly. And I notice I'm folding this over, and what I decided to do on this one was to fold the wings but leave the center flat. And that is going to make my butterfly pop up even more. If you wanted, you could crease it right in the center of the butterfly, and that will allow the butterfly to lay flat on your card. Once I get glue on the other side, notice I'm putting it on the butterfly that I'm gluing to, so I don't mess things up, because I can just see me messing it up. And now I'm doing the butterfly in the opposite direction. So they're all kind of facing out, back to back, if you will. So the area that's the back of these butterflies, this one I'm holding, that will go flat on my cardstock. And so I'll get the butterfly wings on the inside of the pop-up. Okay, so now it's time. I've got to fix this since this butterfly is not symmetrical. You can see where one overlaps the other, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to trim it, and you're not going to really notice it. Now you'll see that I kind of cut off the black outline on the opposite side. To fix that, all you have to do is take your marker and just go around it. You can see where I cut it off, and I'm just going to replace it with this marker here. I actually took my marker all the way around every edge of the butterfly, and it really did make it pop a little bit more even. So I want to show you there are some areas where you'll have to actually color. So I'm going to fill it in with some black marker really carefully just on the edge. And it may seem thick, but it actually looks really good. It makes the butterfly look even more colorful because you have that black outline on the other side. So here's another area where I have to color it in. So I'm going to go around on all sides, but I was able to really make this butterfly work. I think you can still use it. All right, so here's my circle that I'm cut. I've already cut it out, and I'm going to adhere my back part of the butterfly to the circle. I wanted to provide kind of a platform for the butterfly to be on, so I'm going to raise this circle on my card. Put some Tombow Mono Multi Glue, again, being conservative, you don't want it seeping out the sides. Make sure you get those bottom tips, and then carefully place it on the card. I placed it a little bit further up so the top wings were hanging off the edge of the circle, and that way it looked like it was kind of launching off the card. And here you can see the finished result, and you can see the butterfly on the inside of both sides. You could even use this as a tag. I think this would look really good on a gift, but on the card it's fine. You don't have to worry, it'll lay flat in the envelope. For the background, I'm using this linen background stamp by My Favorite Things. I'm using this Hero Arts Soft Granite ink. It's a nice subtle ink for a background. I didn't want to take anything away from the butterfly, so I wanted to make sure I had something really soft. And I trimmed this piece out so it didn't cover the whole cardstock. And now I'm applying some tape runner. I'm going to put it on my card base, and this is a mistake because I forgot I wanted to wrap some thread around, so I'm going to actually have to rip this off later. Okay, so now I'm going to take my circle, I'll put some Scotch foam tape to create my little platform for my butterfly. Normally I would put it in the center, but I'm actually going to put it off center. And then I decided to keep it kind of vertically aligned, but off to the side so I could put my sentiment to the right of it. And I'm going to tilt it just a little bit to the right. For my sentiment, I'm using the Altenew Label Love Set, just this thank you one. I use this all the time. I'm using VersaFine Black Onyx ink. And then I'll cut this out by hand. And I'm going to pop it up on the card. So I have a Stampin' Up! Dimensionals. I've cut them in half, so I have 2 halves. And I've put them kind of toward the right of my sentiment. I'm going to put some thread behind it. This is just some black embroidery thread that I bought at the craft store. And I'm just kind of figuring out where my thread needs to be so that it could wrap around both sides. So I'm going to place it on top of the sticky dimensionals. And then I'm going to place it kind of a little bit on the butterfly circle. So I'm going to have to put some glue. Now I put a little bit too much. I squeezed too hard. So when I do that, I just take a piece of scrap paper and I just kind of wipe it off. I was going to use my 2A glue pen, but then I couldn't find it. So I'm just going to carefully place this on the right of my circle. And then I realized at this point, once I had it on, that I couldn't wrap it around the side. And, you know, I tried to make it work, kind of pull it up a little bit and kind of squeeze the thread in there and hope that it'll stick with the adhesive that's already on the back. But as you can see, it was too loose and there wasn't anything for it to adhere to, so it wasn't going to work. So I decided to take it off. And a little tip, sometimes this works, sometimes it doesn't. I put my paper piercer behind there. And if you could just get if you can get it up enough to grab a big piece of the cardstock, it'll start coming off really quickly. And you'll have to sacrifice either the card base or the top panel. Of course, I'm going to sacrifice my card base, but I can always use the back of this card base for something else. So once I get it mostly off, I kind of twist it a little bit to finish it. All right, now I can put some tape runner on the back on each side and wrap my thread around. And then I'm just going to adhere this onto the card base. This is Neenah Solar White 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch folded, and I'm centering that gray piece. And that's the card for today. So a really fun thing you can experiment with different butterflies. Anyway, I hope you like that, and I will see you next time. Thanks for watching.